Welcome back. I have quite the update and am going to try very much just to do it in bullet point form so that I don't go on too long. I am currently in Honduras, which is a town right on the border between Honduras and Guatemala. I haven't crossed into Guatemala yet. That's tomorrow. It's 10 kilometers away. I'm very excited to be ticking off another country, but sad as always to be leaving one that I really like and feel safe in. If you've been following on Instagram, you know that I have been racing a friend of mine, Sarah, as she runs her way along Scotland and I push my way towards Mexico. We both wanted to try and get 700 kilometers and to use each other as motivation as we traveled in time with each other. However, the wheels fell off on my end, namely with Wombat. So I thought I would run you through the story of what's been going on and get you up to date. So let's see. 1, I reached the halfway point that turned out not to be the halfway point. Today is the day that I was meant to reach the halfway mark when I calculated it wrong, and it's been such a hard day, like it's been kicking my ass, that I'm kind of glad it's not. Now I've just made it to what I think is the top. I mean, it won't be, but I have made it to a top and the view is spectacular. And it's just beautiful walking, and there are occasional people coming past and everyone's just so friendly that it makes up for my grueling morning. 2, Wombat bit off too much of his dew claw and started limping while we were hiking. So I took 2 days off, spoke to Dr. Farley, everything was on track and we continued. 3, a few days into that trail, he started limping again and I noticed that on his paws were some cracks and thought that, you know, doom and gloom, his foot was gonna fall off. Wombat's also wearing a shoe because he's got a sore foot or a pad or something. It's hard to work it out. Anti-inflammatories aren't making a difference, so I don't think it's muscular. I think he's just got sore feet, so or one of them sore. So I've been putting the shoe on to give it some relief because we're walking on pretty rocky ground. Yeah, and he's doing okay with it. It's taken him a minute to get used to wearing one shoe, but it's better than putting him in 4 shoes. And it seems to be doing the job, but of course, because they're too big, they move a bit and they rub. So I think I'll end up probably having them on for an hour or so and then taking them off again. Yeah, so I took his shoe off already. He was kind of getting sick of it and barked at me and stopped. I love his paw, which is pretty easy to read. And I'm not sure if he's just faking or not. He is good at doing that, but I don't think so. He's too consistent with limping. I'm just looking at his foot now. How beautiful is the morning? Doom and gloom, his foot was gonna fall off. But Dr. Farley assured me that that's totally normal for dogs like Wombat and to continue on, but to be mindful of his dew claw because she was convinced that was the problem. She was correct because 5, I got into town and saw a vet who checked him over just in case and told me that the reason it was so prolonged was because of the fungi getting into the dew claw. A lot of dogs have fungi on their skin here. It's just like a known problem. Well, great time to tell you that Wombat is okay. The vet said he's fine, but that we need to rest a few more days, which he's loving. And of course, as soon as we're resting a few more days, this morning he's just been a real rat bag. Suddenly he's got heaps of energy, so I feel confident that a few more days rest and we'll be fine. But I've got this magic skin cream that seems to fix everything from infections to inflammation, and it listed is fungi. Hopefully this problem will be properly resolved. Buenos dias. But actually that wasn't really entirely the issue. What's really happened is I put shoes on him because he was limping and they seemed to be helping, but the shoes are too small and ultimately he got blisters between his two toes. But it took me a long time to see that because the hair was covering them, and it wasn't until he'd been grooming and keeping his feet clean over the last couple of days that right before we were about to set off again, I saw these giant blisters and I hadn't been putting the topical cream there. 2 days later, they look perfectly fine, and I'm taking this extra day to prepare and just give him a chance to really heal. I'd like to have some in case he needs to wear shoes when it's hot or if he has a sore foot. But obviously doing that the other day just made the problem so much worse. So, good news. I can rest and relax and go eat some comfort food. I should say that I've also had a few little medical issues along this section of the trail. Last night I hung my pants up to dry in an abandoned house, and yeah, I was in an abandoned house last night and I was completely saturated, and so I hung up my shirt on one side, and on the other side near the door I hung up my pants. But obviously I just chucked them on this morning without checking them, and there must have been some sort of grub in them because my legs are fully irritated by something and completely under. I felt burning all here this morning while I was walking. Yeah, it's my normal colour skin, and then the rest is just all burnt and it hurts to touch. So, I mean, I've got to wash these pants and also inspect to see if something dead drops out of them so I can figure out what it was. And needless to say that these issues resulted in Wombat and I not winning the race with Sarah in any means, which we always suspected, but it was definitely fun and a nice way to stay motivated on trail. 4, we are now in serious concern, I'm seriously worried about overstaying my visa through Central America. I have 90 days to get myself from Costa Rica to Mexico, and I have all of Guatemala to go. So it's doable and comfortable, but not if Wombat's going to be limping and needing extra days off. So I thought it's better to take that time now than not to. So it's been really cool to spend some time in town. But now I'm going to be a little bit panicked about getting to Mexico. In the meantime, next time you hear from me, I should be getting help from a friend of mine who's coming to visit for 4 days to get me up to speed with videoing more frequently, and he's going to do some of his own as well. So keep an eye out for that. You can look him up. His name is Outback Mike, and we're going to be having some fun while we walk together. It might not be as beautiful as he was envisioning, but that's just because I'm up to an ugly section. What can you do when you have a dog with a blister? And hopefully Wombat is going to be back on the team. And if not, I'll just have to get another dog. Until next time, I'll see you out there.